gentlemen, I'd like to call the meeting of the Johnston County Board of Commissioners, the January 16th, 6 p.m. meeting to order, and welcome everyone here today that's in attendance, and also those who are watching on our live feed and those who may watch later on in the on the YouTube channel as well. First order of agenda is I've asked Commissioner Stevens to lead us in prayer and Commissioner Godwin to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you stand, please?
Dear Lord, we gather today to thank you for all of our many blessings. Thank you for this great county and wonderful country that we live in. We ask that you bless us in the decisions that are made, that it be to the best of the citizens, and be with us as we leave here and keep us all safe. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two.
Thank you very much, and we again welcome this evening. We need to approve our agenda for the evening. Gentlemen, is there any discussion or changes that you'd like to see made to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, I move the agenda be approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Before we move on to the agenda, Chairman Lauder is not able to be with us this evening, and certainly keep him in his thoughts and prayers. He's dealing with a family medical emergency, and we wish them the very best. And I know he's here in spirit, and he's texted me about 50 times today, so we're communicating well back and forth. So we wish his family the very best. Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda, and that includes Department of Transportation additions to the system, Free Will Place, Bellacourt Drive, Old Hickory Drive, Jones Farm in the Cleveland Township. It also includes the Town of Clayton appointment to the Clayton Planning Board and Board of Adjustment. It includes appointments to the Blackwinds Crossroads Fire Protection Board and the Corneth Holders Fire Protection Board, as well as 5210 Firefighters Relief Fund Board and the Wynn Firefighters Relief Fund Board. There's some budget revisions and also a proclamation for Johnston Health, the All in Red campaign, and budget revisions for the Finance Department in the amount of $12,350 and the Health Department for $139,954. This time I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, I'm not advocating that we pull this to discuss, but I just want to reiterate the All in Red, just to encourage everybody to wear red during the month of February.
Okay.
To support the Johnston Health.
Very good, sir.
I
Thank you.
move we accept the consent agenda items as presented.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, move on. Is there anyone here for public comments before I read the blurb that we have? You are here for, okay. All right.
Is this where I just ask or
Yeah, come on up. I'm going to read this while you're coming up. You're welcome. Come on up. Audience members wish to address the board on an item that is not already on the agenda can come forward this time. Just state your name and general location, your town or township of residence, in order to balance the need or desire for citizen input. The necessity of deposing the board's regular business items. Speakers will be asked to keep their comments to about 3 minutes and avoid repetitiveness. So with that being said, if you'll state your name and area for the record.
Okay, my name is Carrie Meade Bell, and I am out of Clayton,
Okay.
North Carolina.
All right.
I am here representing Anchor Disposal, the local trash company. It's actually here out of Johnston County, Clayton. I'm also here on behalf of the North Carolina Independence Waste Haulers Association, which currently has about 7 other private haulers that are strictly work out of Johnston County. And then, of course, I'm a resident of Johnston County myself, so I represent all of that. I'm here just to, and this was at the end, it'd probably answer a lot of our questions, but just to learn a little bit more about the initiative on the solid waste and the tags and the fees and all that are going to come about that I know you guys are going to talk about this evening. One thing, a few things that we just ask that you keep in mind is the NC General Statute 153A-92. We ask that you keep in mind that a lot of local Johnson County people do use private haulers. We are all local. Again, a lot of us live here in the community. And keep in mind that at this time, we just are getting a lot of phone calls in our offices asking us a lot about the trash tags and if, where it's going to go and are we going to give them money back. And then maybe we ask maybe to look to other counties such as Harnett County, Sampson County, and all of them that have moved, which I'm sure all of you have, moved forward with the fees or non-fees, whichever way they go. Let's see, that you just help us local haulers address these questions and consider raising our increases on all of our hauler fees at the local landfills, and that will directly impact us, because if there's fees for everybody, then we'll probably in turn lose customers, and we are all local residents as well. And I think that is all. And then the other thing to consider is, I know me personally, when I drive home in the evenings, like the convenience center on Barber Mill Road, I'm always stopped because there's people out in the road. So if we did push higher fees and get a lot of people to go to going to the convenience centers, that would in turn, the traffic and whatnot it would cause a huge mess there with the traffic.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our emergency services team, I think, is here to give us an update on the cold weather plans, and I'll invite them to come in. They're patiently waiting in the hallway. Come on in.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Sandy Wood, Johnston County Emergency Management Coordinator, and I'm here with Director Kevin Hubbard and Deputy Director Josh Holloman. So throughout the year, I know you guys probably are aware, we work on our plans regarding all kinds of events here in the county, cold weather, hot weather, hurricanes, whatever it may be that require, our citizens may require some additional services or help. So for this cold weather spell, we have sent out messaging to all of our public safety people, more of our partners, done some social media posts. I think Adam has posted out with the media. But what we're doing is we are working with our Smithfield Rescue Mission, and they will be they'll be with white flag conditions. They will allow people to come there and they will help them. And then during the daytime, we have the county courthouse and the county library. We've talked to Johnny at the library as well. He always helps us so that people can come in and get out of the cold weather. We're staying in contact with Smithfield Rescue Mission, so if at any time something exceeds their capabilities, we're ready with our county partners to assist in that.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Wood?
I would just say for the public's knowledge, is there any needs that you know of right now that the public could donate or contribute to?
So what I will say is we are very fortunate in this county. We have a lot of volunteer organizations and a lot of faith-based, and they all step in to help in their areas as well. So I would say any of those that you could reach out and be a part of, that's always a good thing, because they're really great in standing up. The women's organizations, the churches, they all provide everything, that they can during situations.
Perfect. Thank you.
Fantastic. Any other questions or comments? Wood, thank you so much for the great work y'all do. And we appreciate you taking care of all the people of this county. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board for public comment? Come forward, sir, and please state your name for the record and your area that you live in the county.
I'm Travis Tart, resident of Johnston County, over off Cornwallis Road in Gray Wolf Creek community. I wanted to speak on behalf of this item number 12, the solid waste household availability fee update. Just to say that I'm against that. I wanted to publicly share that, and the reason why. I'm in the industry of selling trucks, and I sell Mack trucks for a living. But in our neighborhood and in many neighborhoods in the last several years with builders, we are not able to dictate who does our trash service. It's mandated by our HOA service. So with that being said, if this fee was implemented, then, you know, we would be paying, or I would be paying, and anybody else in any of these communities that do not have the say-so of who can pick up their trash would be paying double for those services. I have seen this in other counties, Franklin County being one, where if they did implement the fee for Johnston County or any other county, there would be a tax credit that we could get to offset that by providing an invoice or something of that nature that shows that we are paying trash service through an HOA service or privately that's dictated by HOA service in our communities.
Okay.
So that's it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tartt.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Counselor, there will be a public hearing on this once it starts, once we move to that point of adoption of this. Okay, so there will be opportunities for folks to come and give their feelings, pro and con, of this entire issue when it comes up. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. All right, any other folks here for public comment? Madam Clerk, is there any emails or anything for public comment? All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda. It's Johnston County Public Schools request for design due diligence funds for Cleveland High School expansion. I think we have Brooks Moore here along with, looks like Dr. Pierce and one of their board members, Mike Wooten, and welcome, gentlemen. Thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir. Good evening, board members. If I could I have a document that has been shared with staff that I'd like to share with you, kind of background to this request.
Okay?
Thank you, Brooks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so what you have is just the background of just estimated cost for the project to construct the 24 classroom addition to Cleveland High School. That addition was planned for with the original design, sort of like Corinth Holders High School was back in 2008 when it was built and opened in 2010. We were able to construct the same addition at Corinth Holders High School, but with the 18 bond, we didn't get the addition to this school. So I just appreciate the opportunity to come and make this request that we've been talking about for some time now, but just want to obtain the funds to just procure the design for this, so that when the time comes, we can build it. Again, that school, as you can see, is, as of today, is exactly 600 students over design capacity. So with 21 classrooms in mobile trailers outside. So this is the 24 classroom addition to that school. You can see the site prep, the projected construction cost, and a modest fee of 5%. Typically, we see 5 to 7%, but just given the preparations for this in the original design, I'm thinking the 5% since a safe fee. But then also we have to do other due diligence items such as surveying and soil testing that all go into the designed for bearing capacities and all of that stuff. I feel like I could probably negotiate an economical design fee a little lower than 5%. That's definitely my goal. Always my goal to be as efficient as possible. And so not only will this help that school with their capacity, but keep in mind kind of the future plans around Clayton High School with that project, and just other projects. As Wilson's Mills High School is about to start construction here soon. Does Clayton High School swing into that school or not? There are many more discussions with that to come, but this definitely gets us ahead of that and prepared for that, depending on how that plays out, but then also accommodates the students that are on campus now. So I said a whole lot to not say a whole lot. Can I answer any questions or?
Any questions for?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. You said 24 classrooms. Anything else being added other than just classrooms?
No, sir. That's all. So the lunchroom, all of that was designed for this. This is just to connect that addition that goes from the main building to the back trades and technical building.
And after completion, all the mobile units will be taken away.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I was going to ask the
Sure.
same question. You say moving 6 mobiles. How many do you have there?
There's 11 mobiles comprising 21 classrooms, but one of the big ones will have to be moved to a different location, so this can be constructed on campus, obviously.
So I guess I'm going to go back to what Commissioner Bryce, there, even with this addition, there will be mobile units there?
No, sir. The goal is to construct the addition and remove the.
All of them be gone?
Yes.
All of them.
All of them?
Yes.
Okay. That basically was, my question. When you said 5% as far as design fees, and your goal was to, hopefully reduce it, what is your specific ask tonight?
Would consider the cost for survey and Sewell's report, and I would like to ask for a not to exceed of $500,000.
Trust me, I won't see that.
With the intent of never spending that much. But I feel confident that I can negotiate a more economical fee than the standard that we typically see, because it's largely some of the pre-design work is already done. The conceptual plan is done, so it's really like, here, put this on paper for us to build. But keep in mind, it's more than just the design, because that's the firm that's also going to be making the field visits during construction, answering RFIs, reviewing and improving submittals. So there's a lot of hours and time that the design team does during the construction phase too.
Thank you, sir.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around these numbers. We're talking about $470,000 per classroom. Is the state mandates such that it costs that much money to build a classroom? I would think we could build a freestanding classroom for that much money.
So this is based on DPI standards, because this addition will have to have 4 science labs in it, which are expensive with the ventilation. We'll also have large restrooms in it, certain building code hallways, mechanical rooms, a couple of business marketing, computer classrooms. So it's, that number is about $300 a square foot.
Yeah, 317.
Commissioner Smith, did you have something you wanted to add, sir?
Ted, I was going to help you a little bit with your math. If you take 12,723,326 and divide it by 24 classrooms,
Yeah.
it's $530,000.
Yeah, I was using the net figures up at the top.
Any other questions for Mr. Moore? I did have a couple just for clarification. So this will, in fact, eliminate the mobile classrooms at the Cleveland campus. And this project is also critical to make the Clayton project come in at the right timing with the Wilson's Mills High School and so forth. Is that correct?
Definitely.
Okay, all right.
When you refer to the right timing, what are we talking about?
I'll let Mr., you want to?
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Patrick. Is this money going to be part of a bond issue? Or do you plan on spending $12 million out of the general revenue funds to build this school?
That's a decision this board would have to make at the time. All they're asking for tonight is just the design monies. We're not committing to doing anything beyond getting the design fees so that they can get the building design, get the site designed to actually duplicate a building you've already built at Cornet Holders, correct? Right. So this is just the site fees. That's all. That's all you're committing to tonight. Now, how you move forward with it in the future, that would be up to this board.
When would be the earliest that we could have a bond issue? If you design this and it wants to get built, when's the earliest we could have a bond issue?
2024?
24?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Any other questions for Mr. Moore?
You said
Comment?
the Corinth Holders project, so they don't have any mobile classrooms down there?
They still have to have some because they're over what the addition provided. They're at about 2,261 students, and the build-out capacity with this addition is 1,895.
Any other questions for Mr. Moore? Mr. Pierce, would you like to add anything to this conversation, or board member, Mr. Wooten?
Lester Harris, board, council members, appreciate the opportunity to be here, opportunity to present this request to you. It's very important that we continue to move forward in the construction process of our schools to get our students out of the mobiles. It's not only is it deter learning, but it also is a safety issue for our students. And this would definitely help us keep the ball rolling in the construction phase to make sure that our students get into a physical building and move on with the process. But, you know, whether it's a reimbursement when the bond, 2024 bond is prepared, or whatever this board decides to do, but we're very grateful for the support that you give the school system and our students of Johnston County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I know that the construction of the Wilson Mills High School, well, it's supposed to help relieve some of the over capacity at Clayton, but will it help Corinth Holders any?
It will, yes, sir. We're working on those attendance boundaries now with our most recent update that's also kind of big and drafted based on the plan and data developments and stuff. But it's positioned centrally to where it can stretch and help Corinth Holders, but then also help Clayton, Smithfield, Cleveland, that whole area where if you think about kind of the 70 bypass, Wilson's Mills area, there's a big old void there of kind of the Clayton schools and then the Cleveland schools. And there's a whole area that both sides have to reach out and help. So this is positioned well to kind of fill that void and help a lot of a large area in the western part of the county.
Do y'all have a master study where you determine by building of course, the Wilson Mills High School and the additions at Cleveland? Do we have a point in time where we can actually speculate, I'll call it because we don't know what our growth is going to be, for elimination of all classrooms, prime,
Mobile classroom?
mobile classroom?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and we reviewed the same sort of plan and shared back before the 2018 bond and preparations for it, and just a couple years ago, the 2022 bond, the list of growth needs.
But do you anticipate complete elimination of mobile classrooms anytime soon? I'm speaking after Wilson Mills is through, Cleveland's finished, and Clayton High is on. Is that by your projections, is that going to do away with the larger portion of mobile classrooms in the county?
At the high school level, yes.
Okay.
And that's a lot of mobile classrooms at the high school level. Yeah.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments for Mr. Moore? The request that's before the board is a staff recommended an amount not to exceed $350,000 for the school board to consider for the allocation of funds. If you want to make an adjustment to that, or you want to discuss that further, or I'll entertain the thought of a motion.
I have high hopes of your negotiation skills.
Is that a motion?
What's the wishes of the board?
Yeah, I make a motion that we allocate funding for the design due diligence costs for the Cleveland High School expansion not to exceed an amount of $350,000.
All right, I have a motion on the floor. I have a second.
I second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Maybe this is not a discussion for that motion per se, but just, is any such thing as going back to the design people and says, bring us another number, this is just too high? Is that possible?
Talking about the construction number?
Yeah. Maybe that's a question for another day.
That's purely market. I'm sure with the public services and the other plans that you all have, seeing those same things.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. There's no further discussion. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, ayes have it, motion carries. You get to work there, Mr. Brooks, with the,
Hope so.
okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all for being here. All right, the next item on the agenda is presentation of the audit report, year ending June 30th, 2023. Our finance director and deputy county manager, Chad McLam, will present to us. Mr. McLam?
Yes, thank you, and good evening. Alan Thompson and Thompson Price, Scott and Adams are here to present our fiscal year end 2023 audit. I don't want to steal any of his thunder, but we had a good year, and so the numbers that you're going to hear Mr. Thompson talk about is amounts that we have done and been efficient to build up with the tremendous amount of growth in the county and the need for infrastructure here in Johnston County, and to some extent there may be some needs for growth and expansion for some of our partners. Having this type of money is in some ways fool's gold, because it's earmarked for some of the construction we're going to have over the next few years. We have done well to be able to do that and come out on the other side having enough fund balance befitting of a county that's AAA. So I would like to thank the board, all of our staff, our employees, as well as the citizens for helping us achieve such good marks on this audit. So thank you.
So, thank you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. You should have two reports at your desk. I'm going to jump from the smaller report.
Yes, sir.
First thing I want to do is thank you for allowing our firm to do the audit. The main thing you do hire us as an outside audit firm to do is issue an opinion on the financial statements as a whole. We issued an unmodified report, which is a quote-unquote clean report. Staff does do a great job. Finance department, all the department heads do a good job with maintaining control of the resources that the county brings in and the expenditures it makes. On page 1, under significant audit findings, qualitative aspects of the accounting practices, paragraph 1 has accounting policies, paragraph 2 is accounting estimates, and the third one is disclosures in the financial statements. We were good with all of those. There were no difficulties encountered in performing the audit. On page 2, there were no uncorrected misstatements. There were no disagreements with management. Management did provide us with a representation letter dated December 19th. We're unaware that management consulting outside accountants, auditors, etc. Under findings and issues, the P-card-ish thing there is probably just an auditor thing. He just don't like them, so just forgive me for that one. The Medicaid findings are technical findings. There were no question costs related to those. And then if you'd be kind enough to flip over to page 4. I'm not going to say these are all the key numbers in the audit report because they're obviously not, but what we attempt to do is pull out some of the key numbers in the audit report and put them in this first column, and then put the 4 prior year audit reports beside those so that you're looking at numbers in the current year with some context, and you'll be able to see trends without having to flip through a bunch of different audit reports here. So total fund balance in your general fund is $241,676,000. You go back to 19, that number is $84 million. Unavailable fund balance, $29.4 million. Other restrictions, $24.3. General fund expenditures, including transfers, is $310 million. Fund balance available as a percentage is 68.29%. You go back, I think it's 29.12 in 19. The fund balance available, the fund balance available as a percentage against is 68.29. The amount over and above, i.e. the profit for the general fund is $42.1 million or $2 million. Water fund is $914,000. The wastewater treatment plan is $5,176,000. The water district operating fund is $7,175,000. Solid waste had a positive $36,123. Total cash, fixed assets, and accumulated depreciation in all enterprise funds except the Section 8 housing was $594 million. Accumulated depreciation was $196 million, and cash was $113,682,000. Cash versus fund balance here and investment earnings. One thing that if you were to go back that is dramatically different that I'm sure you're able to see and you see on your reports that you get from Chad is if you look at the amount of investment earnings, simply because of a rising rate environment that we've been in for probably a year and a half, 2 years, is dramatically increased. Again, total cash in the general fund there is $223 million. Investment earnings were 7.7, cash in school bond funds 8.7, investment earnings is $461,000. ARPA is $42,071,000. The earnings is $1.5 million. Water funds 35.9, earnings $1,007,000. Wastewater is $25.6 million, earnings $1,085,000. Cash in water district operating is $40 million. Earnings is $608,000, solid waste 11.9, earnings is $29,000, and then cash and other governmental is 17.4, and the earnings is $163,000. The fun part of that is when you go back 2 and 3 and 4 years, you see the dramatic change in investment earnings. Fund balance again is $241 million in general funds, school bond funds 7.5, ARPA is $1,005,000. Water funds is 59.4, and wastewater is 100,680,000. Water district operating is 82.1, solid waste is 11.2, other governmental funds is 15.2. While the general fund balance, and cash tend to run a lot in concert, sometimes when we look at fund balances in enterprise funds, they don't, because you can have a big fund balance in an enterprise fund because you got big fund balances in fixed assets. So that's not necessarily running in concert with your cash. The next line you see there, your property tax rates going down over the 5 years presented. Collection percentage is the highest in the current year of any of the 5 years. The tax office and all the people and your citizens do a great job. That's just incredibly good. Collection percentages without motor vehicles, which doesn't really matter anymore. And then total property valuation, you can see the big increase there in the total levy amount. On page 5, you see your debt analysis there, total governmental debt at $283 million, and then total business type debt at $253 million. But if you were to go down to the bottom of the page, you can see there's some duplicate because of the way you have to account for limited obligation bonds, and that amount really is $198 million. Then you see a breakdown of your general fund revenues and a breakdown of your general fund expenditures. I will say this before I get to the charts. Chad's right in the sense that a lot of things are, I'm sure, in the play for future, but the management of the resources, and I'm definitely not giving an opinion on that, to be able to accumulate, to get prepared for the growth and manage the growth and account for all of it properly, which is what I'm here to say, yes. A lot of folks deserve a lot of credit for the hard work that goes into doing that. On page 6, you can see total fund balance, the nice blue line there in the bar chart, and on the bottom you can see the fund balance available and compared to the group weighted average where we have data. They've changed how they used the group weighted average and basically made it of little use after that 2021 year. You see on page 7 cash balances and fund balances there in a pie chart on the top, and then the total cash balances and fund balances right underneath that. And then on page 8, you can see where the collection percentage is for the county on property taxes versus the group weighted average. And obviously the county is exceeding what the group weighted average and the statewide average and any other average that's out there. So on page 9, you see the school debt as a percentage of total governmental debt, and then school debt as a percentage of total debt there. And then on the bottom, you see a breakdown of your general fund revenues. Ad valorem taxes at 55.85% being the largest. That's why there's so much emphasis, and I'm showing you about levy amounts and collection percentages, etc. And then on page 10, you see a breakdown of your general fund expenditures, with the largest one being education and public safety. And then on page 11, there was one finding that requires a response, and that was a Section 8 housing expenditure that got overlooked, a budget amount where amendment didn't get made, so you have to respond within 60 days from today's date to the state in regards to that. Again, thank you for allowing us to do the audit. The county did receive an unmodified report. The numbers do look good. So I'm happy to answer any questions, not just tonight, but any other time you got a question, please always feel free to give me a call. I'm not in office. Tell me to give you my cell number and chase me down. I'll get you an answer.
Thank you, sir. Any questions about the audit?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you again, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir. It's always good to see you.
We do need to entertain a motion to adopt the audit as presented.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Have a motion is second. Any discussion?
I think we're very fortunate to have the staff that we have to have, first of all, this outstanding report, plus the collection rate that our tax office keeps to do, repeating year after year after year. That speaks highly of our employees.
I agree with you, and I will add that Mr. McLam and his team and the entire county staff, county manager, department heads do an extraordinary job in being good stewards of the taxpayers' money. I did find one thing that stands out to me, and when I look at the board priorities two of those priorities were educational funding and public safety. And it's reflecting in the budget here that we're doing exactly what we said. And I would be remiss if I don't go through the list, because the chairman will probably text me in a little while and say, why didn't you read the board priorities? But those are educational funding, infrastructure, financial stewardship, land use, public safety, and county employees. And I think our audit reflects that those are important to this board. Okay. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 is finance, also Mr. McLam, reimbursement resolution for the water and sewer system revenue bonds.
Yes, sir. Staff requests the board adopt a resolution allowing for the reimbursement of expenditures with the proceeds of debt for water and sewer system revenue bonds. The county will advance funds to pay for certain capital costs with construction and various capital improvements with the county's existing water and sewer system. The resolution will allow the county to be reimbursed for these expenditures through the proceeds of the debt. And the max principal amount in the resolution is $76 million.
Okay. Any questions from Mr. McLam on the resolution? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
I make a motion that we adopt a resolution for reimbursement for water and sewer system revenue bonds.
Okay.
As presented.
A second.
Have a motion, have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, sir. Item number 7 is Brightspeed presentation, and I think our county manager, Rick Astor, is going to give us a brief background and introduce our representative from Brightspeed. Mr. Astor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, board members. Good evening. Just to give you a little background, it was almost 2 years ago when several broadband companies came and made presentation to the commissioners in response to this great grant program, federal dollars that was during COVID that were available for broadband projects. These companies, the 5 or 6 of them made presentations, and then the state of North Carolina decided who would go and do the projects in each county. And the original selection for Johnston County did not work out, unfortunately. But tonight, Brightspeed has been awarded the project for Johnston County, and Steve Brewer with Brightspeed we've been discussing with him, had a couple of meetings with him to talk about their project for Johnston County. And I would like to also introduce Jeff Brooks with the state DFE office. I call it the state broadband office, but it's officially the DIT, right? So, yeah, and we know Jeff and appreciate all his work he does for us. He was nice to come here tonight and check this out. So, tonight I'd like to introduce Steve Brewer with Brightspeed and to go over their project plans and ask for board consideration.
Could I ask you a quick question?
Yes, sir.
You said almost, it's been 2 years ago.
Well, it would be the spring of '22.
So here we are 2 years later.
That's right.
And we're only here at this particular point.
That's right. Yes, sir. We were somewhat stuck there for a while. Yes, sir.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
But those folks that didn't have broadband
That's right.
still don't have it.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, hopefully tonight will be positive.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brewer, welcome.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Again, I'm Steve Brewer. I'm Director of Governmental Affairs for Brightspeed, and I'm very happy to be with you this evening. And I've got a few slides I'd like to share with you. So I'm going to go through this first couple of slides very quickly, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of the history on the transition to Brightspeed. A couple of years ago, Apollo Global Management, large private investment firm, entered into an agreement with Lumen, who was the parent company of CenturyLink, to acquire local assets across 20 states to include the state of North Carolina. And in March of 2022, they announced that corporate headquarters would indeed be located in North Carolina. North Carolina is the largest state of our 20 states, and it is headquartered in Charlotte, I'm happy to say. October 3rd, to be exact, of 2022,
we actually got the keys to the car, meaning Apollo Global Management closed the transaction to purchase those assets, and those assets are now marketed as Brightspeed. The plan all along for Apollo was to invest in an ILEC provider and to upgrade copper facilities with fiber facilities. So that's what we're in the process of doing. So you can see as of year-end 2023, we are well on our way in our plans to build over 800,000 fiber passings in the state of North Carolina. Anything that we achieve by way of broadband grants, which is what we're here to talk about tonight, will only serve to grow that number. Honestly, I would expect that number to certainly exceed 900,000 at some point, depending upon our level of success with broadband grants. To date, we've won funding to build an additional 50,000 units by way of the state's broadband grant program. Since we've gotten the keys to the car, we've hired an additional 200 call center agents, and we now have an average speed of answer of approximately 30 seconds or less than 30 seconds. We've also hired 51 service technicians in North Carolina. So with those additional resources, those additional 51 service technicians, our operations team has managed to improve our mean time to repair by 61% over where things stood on October 3rd of 2022. And the mean time to install, we show improvement of 54%. As we are transitioning our network to fiber, there's a lot of benefits that come with that. For one, fiber's not stolen. Unfortunately, we've had a rash of copper theft, particularly in North Carolina, where portions of the copper network are just simply ripped out of the ground or removed from the poles. Obviously, that causes a considerable amount of disturbance to, excuse me, to the network. But with fiber, that does not happen. Weather has far less impact on fiber, and the new deployment technology that our partner Corning, they're our vendor who provides fiber, they've come up with a process that allows us to deploy the fiber much faster than has been done in the past. And when those facilities are damaged, we can typically repair the damage much faster than we've experienced in the past. So lots of real positives as we transition over to fiber. And another couple of issues that Rick asked me to touch on tonight would be the future broadband grant opportunities above and beyond the GREAT grant, which is what we're here to discuss tonight, and that would be the CAB program and the BEAD program. North Carolina, the state of North Carolina as it stands right now, has approximately $350 million worth of grants moving forward as part of the CAB grant program. And it has been announced by the federal government that the state of North Carolina will receive approximately $1.5 billion to facilitate the state's the BEAD program, and I'll be happy to talk about those here in just a bit. So this map that I'm sharing with you on the screen, it illustrates two things. The gold dots that you see on the map, there's 3,925 gold dots on the map. Those are the locations that we have been awarded in Johnston County as part of the state's broadband, the GREAT grant broadband program. With that award, the state is awarding $4 million. We will invest approximately $5.5 million, and as originally discussed, as Mr. Hester mentioned some time ago, as originally discussed, the county commitment that we're looking to finalize here would be a $500,000 commitment to this grant program. So the locations that you see in the text boxes, or the numbers that you see in the text boxes that are pointing to the various communities throughout the county, are locations that we will build using our own private investment dollars. As I mentioned earlier, Apollo Global Management entered into the purchase of our local assets to bring as many fiber passings as possible across the state of North Carolina, and the target was 800,000. So if you look at this, this is approximately 22,000 fiber passings that we will be building using our own private investment dollars and much of this construction should be completed in 2024. And again, these locations will be served with symmetrical fiber, where initially customers will be able to receive 1 gigabyte of speed, both coming into their location and going out. We are told that we should be able to expect that speed to go to 2 gigabyte in the near future, and then ultimately the network is capable of accommodating a 10 gigabyte speed. So when you couple the private investment locations that will be built along with the Great Grant locations, that gets you to about 26,000 fiber passings that we're looking to build in Johnston County in the very, very near future. However, as we build out the Great Grant locations, so again, the Great Grant locations are the just over 3,900 gold dots that you see on the screen, we're going to get very close to locations that we refer to as pull-through locations. Those locations were technically ineligible to be funded as part of the Great Grant program. However, if we get close enough to those locations, we will serve them. At first glance or preliminary results, we think we can get very close to 3,000 additional pull-through locations that we'll be able to serve with fiber. I won't know that exact count until we actually, as part of the engineering process, there's something called walking the route. Until that's finalized, I won't be able to give you an exact count, but the preliminary numbers show approximately 3,000 locations. So I've got one more slide to share with you to talk about future grant eligible locations, but really the primary reason that we're here this evening is to talk about the gold locations and in finalizing the contract. It's a three-way contract between the state, the county, and the provider. So do you have any questions about what I've got on the screen for you right now?
Any questions from the board? Mr. Brewer, all right.
So I've got one more slide that I'm going to share with you. So the gray portion, the gray colored in portion of the county is our service boundary. So obviously we don't provide service to the entirety of the county, but the vast majority of the county we do provide service on. So we have done an analysis of the county, and we have confirmed these numbers with DIT. Once the CAB grant locations are built out, there's going to be approximately 6,000 locations within the county that are either underserved or unserved. So they will be grant eligible, be it the CAB grant program or the BEAD program. So, as I mentioned earlier, combined, the state has almost $2 billion of additional broadband grant opportunity available to it. And, it is through those programs we should be able to serve these remaining counties. Just over 5,700 of those locations reside in the gray area, but again, future grant eligible locations in the county is it's just a hair over 6,000 locations. So that doesn't mean they don't have some level of service today, but they don't meet the federal government's broadband speed requirement of 100 by 20. So, and as I mentioned earlier, as we build out the CAB grant locations, we expect there to be somewhere around 3,000 pull-through locations. So this number will most certainly go down. It's not going to cut it in half or anything quite that dramatic. But some of these locations that you see on the screen today will be part of that for sure. But again, I won't have that information until we actually complete the engineering process on this grant program and are actually able to identify the specific addresses that we think we can pull through.
Okay.
Any questions there?
The void that's on that slide.
Yes, sir.
There to right of center.
Yes, sir.
What's the situation there? Will that never be eligible, or is...
No, it's not a portion of the county that we serve. It's not part of our ILEC service territory. So it would mean another provider. So if you look at the numbers on the map right there, there's 6,071 total county according to the information that we've confirmed with DIT. 5,768 are in that gray area. The balance or the delta there would be in the areas that are not grayed in, and that would be another service provider.
I'm underserved, and I live in that area that's in that void.
That does not mean you will be in I just didn't populate the dots on the map that were outside of our footprint. But certainly they are grant eligible. And quite frankly, this is a really important point. In order for a state to participate in the BEAD grant program, and again, North Carolina's allotment from the BEAD program is $1.5 billion with a B dollars. The state had to develop a plan to get us to universal coverage. So those let's call it 400 locations right there that are not on the map and are not in our, they will be part of that program. And Mr. Brooks over here, I think, can confirm that. But the state, as a condition to participate in the BEAD program, we've got to have a plan to get to universal coverage.
Right.
So their help is coming.
I hope so. People on my road need it.
I'm sure.
Mine too.
Yeah.
They're there for the government, they're here to help.
Yeah,
That's right, exactly. Any other questions for Mr.
Do
Brooks?
you anticipate the satellite Starlink, Elon Musk, that's affecting your?
So that's an interesting question. There's many ways to look at it. I will tell you, the vast majority of citizens, in my opinion, would prefer to have fiber to their home. There inevitably, throughout our country, will be locations that are so expensive, so challengingly difficult to get to, that other alternatives are going to have to be considered, and that is certainly one of them. We have seen locations that are literally $100,000 to bring fiber to one household. We've seen that, across, not here, but across the country. Those situations do exist, and an alternative to fiber is certainly going to have to be considered in situations like that.
All right. Any other discussion?
It's exciting to see all those gold dots up there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Mr. Brooks, would you like to add anything to this conversation? Since you, okay, sure, come forward. Jeff Brooks.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you again.
Good evening.
It's been too long since I've been here, so thank you for welcoming back. I am now responsible for all of the, or I want to say all, most of the things that Steve just talked about. I now work for DIT. I'm responsible for the Completing Access to Broadband program, the stopgap program, and the broadband pole replacement program. And specifically for you and for you, I actually have help for you.
All right.
Once the providers do their magic, I have another program called the stopgap program that will not require any investment of funds by the county. What will happen is I'll work with Rick and we'll look at a variety of components, including citizen input. My team handles about 50 inquiries a month, coming from the governor's office, from the legislature, even congressional offices. They kind of rise up to the top of the list. And what we're trying to find are those locations in the county where there could be 3 or 4 addresses that the big programs didn't get to.
Mm-hmm.
We'll bid it out, just like CAB, the Complete Access Project, state procurement. Probably only one provider will bid it because it'd be closest to the infrastructure. We know how much this stuff costs. We'll get a good deal. We'll pay for 85% of it. Provider pays for about 15%. Generally, we'll get that bill built within about, I'd say, 3 to 4 months after contracting, so it'll be fairly quick. In terms of the delay, when the bids came out for Great Grant in May of 2022, the Broadband Infrastructure Office received 305 applications. That was, I think it was about 260 more than had ever been received. So each of those had to be read, and then we had 211 protests. So each of the protests had to be read, and the applications had to be reread. Then the U.S. Treasury came out because $350 million, the $380 million in broadband funding for GREAT were governed by ARPA rules. Treasury could not make up their mind. We're going to do it like this. We're going to do it like this. That put a delay of about 9 to 10 months in the process for the awarding of grants. There were a few grants that were able to be awarded in July of 2022. The most of those got pushed back into 2023, only been completed very recently. So I apologize to the folks in Washington couldn't get their act together so you could have broadband. So I just.
That answers all your questions.
Well,
Sorry about that. So.
You answered all the question. It's the murk of the bureaucracy that doesn't really get concerned
Well,
about.
and the other thing I will tell you is, since I've been here in front of you, which, as we all know, this is my favorite county.
You used to work for. You used to work with it.
Yes, sir, I did. I did. Broadband is a very local thing, and so I have now been to 86 county seats in the state. I've done 41 board presentations. I've met with 86 county managers, because only by speaking with county managers and talking with boards are you able to understand what we're trying to do, which is to get the money out of the trunk of my Fiat and into the counties where it can do some good. I say Fiat because somebody actually went and looked for my car one time. And I said, oh, I got all this money in the trunk of my car to get out in the counties for broadband. So you change that. That's the goal here. And so when you think about the CAB program, which has $400 million in it, which follows right behind Great Grant, it's a scenario where, we spoke with Rick, who's been actively involved in discussions about CAB. We speak to providers. We say the same thing to service providers and to counties, so everyone knows how the process works. And we've had a lot of discussions about how Johnston County can benefit from these other programs, as well as from the future programs in B. So I'm happy to answer any questions about grant programs. If I can help in any way, I'm happy to do it, and I appreciate Rick inviting me to be here.
Thank you, sir. Great.
Yes.
We
Thank you, Mr.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can I mention one quick
Absolutely.
thing? Just to follow on Mr. Brooks. When Brightspeed came to the commission back in the spring of '22, their original grant program was about 8,100 passes, if you will. And because I think of the challenges, it is about 47% of that number today. Back in that point, you may recall they asked, requested $1 million match on that. I just wanted you to know kind of what had happened and those challenges. Mr. Brooks made me think about that. And but as you see, there are other plans they have inside municipalities as well as other incorporated areas. So, and I appreciate. Thank you, Adam. So anyway, I just wanted to add that to the discussion. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. Any other discussions on this? What's the pleasure of the board?
As I understand it now, Mr. Chairman and County Manager, what is the number we're looking at now? 500,000? Is that right?
500,000 is the request.
I'm having trouble here.
So we get
Yes, the request is, from Brightspeed, is $500,000. Our suggestion is that comes from the ARPA funds, which you may recall the county received about $40 million in ARPA funds, and that if the board is good with that the county would reimburse Brightspeed on the back end of the project to make sure we have a successful project, as was discussed tonight.
So we're getting 3 times as many passes and half the money. I move we approve the 500,000.
All right. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, sir.
Ted, we're going to get internet finally.
Help is on the way.
Then we got to teach you how to use it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
for purposes of clarification, I just want to make sure that it's the general consensus of the board that the county manager or the chairman can go ahead and execute those agreements and any necessary documents.
I would include that in my motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, item number 8, Parks, Recreation, Greenways, Parks, Greenways, and Open Space, the Open Space Fund grant request. Adrian O'Neill and Austin Cross are going to present. Mr. O'Neill, welcome.
We got a quick one tonight, I hope. We have a request from Glendale Chapel Community Recreation for open space funds in the amount of $16,625. And the reason they're requesting now out of cycle is because they did not have leadership in place when the grant was open, but they do now. And they are looking for this money for clearing and grading for a new soccer field and improvements to the existing parking lot that will make it safer for the children there and add services that they can provide. And that $16,000 or $16,625 is to grade, seed, and do some, like I said, do some work on the parking lot.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. O'Neill?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the open space grant funds to Glendale Chapel Community Recreation in the amount of $16,625.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I was by this site last few days to look at it, and I went to school there. And it'll be nice to see these improvements done.
Okay. Anything else?
A lot of folks in that community use it.
Right. Okay. Very good. All right. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank
As
you, sir.
always, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Adrian.
Appreciate it. All right, number 9, public utilities, the Four Oaks wastewater pump station improvements, proposed construction contract award and budget revision. Ms. Chandra Farmer is with us this evening.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. We have bid our Four Oaks wastewater pump station improvements project. The low bidder was Sanford Contractors in the amount of $3,547,400. We are requesting the board award the project to Sanford Contractors, well, approve the award of the project to Sanford Contractors, approve the revised project budget. The proposed budget now includes construction. The original budget was just for design. The majority of this project would be funded through the 2023 state appropriations funding that we have received. And then we're also asking for approval of the capital project ordinance. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions from Ms.
Have
Farmer?
we seen much increase with the rate environment having moved in the last year? So have we seen much increase in the cost of this financing?
This financing, this state appropriations was the direct appropriation that we received.
Oh, okay.
So that's
a good number.
Yes.
Very good number.
It's
Very
grant
good number.
funding, essentially.
All right. Any other questions, Ms. Farmer? All right. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I would like to move that we move to award to the Four Oaks, to award the Four Oaks wastewater pumping station improvements to Project to Sanford Contractors Incorporated, the amount of $3,547,400.
Second it.
Approve the revised capital project budget and capital project ordinance.
All
I
right.
second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Farmer. You're up next again with the Neuse River wastewater pump station force main upgrade, proposed capital project budget.
Yes, this is the last leg of several projects that will allow us to increase our wastewater capacity, transmission capacity from where we receive from the town of Four Oaks and our retail customers in that area back to our existing wastewater treatment facility. This is the force main along Highway 301 from the Neuse River Bridge back to the existing wastewater treatment plant. We would like to begin design of that project, and in order to do so, we're requesting to adopt that capital project ordinance that would include, or the capital project budget that would allow for technical services and easements only at this time. We would come back in the future for construction, and we would recommend this be from the Fund 68 sewer fund balance in the amount of $516,000.
Okay. Any questions from Ms. Farmer?
Is the route of this force main going to follow the existing route, or are we going to go down to Huntley Street and go in?
The existing one does go down
Carolina?
301, and it does have a little bit of some
goes-
variation there. The
goes through that
intent would-
subdivision.
we would define the route when we get into the preliminary
okay.
design, but the intent would be to parallel 301 to Huntley Street and then go
Yeah,
down.
that would be ideal.
Any other comments, discussion? What's the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the appropriation of funding for the Neuse River wastewater pump station force main upgrade from the Wastewater Fund 68 and adoption of the capital project budget, including design and easement acquisitions only, and approve the proposed project budget and associated budget revisions.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, the next item on the agenda is a proposed road name change to Veterans Parkway, and our county attorney, Ms. Slusser, is going to present that information to us now.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
In your packet, you have an ordinance naming the segment located between US 70 Business and the Clayton area to the Wake County line within the unincorporated area of Johnston County to Veterans Parkway. This has been a matter of a lot of discussion recently, and this is the last step that you would need to take in order to make that change. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, and if I don't know the answers, I bet Mr. Hester does.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for council?
Mr. Chairman, I move we, to adopt the ordinance.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. All right, item number 12 is solid waste household availability fee update from Chad McLam, our county finance director and deputy manager.
Yes, good evening. Just want to give you a very brief update on the Johnston County Household Availability Fee Program. And as I made my notes, put effective July 1st, 2024, and that's a good segue to remind everybody that the decal program will end June 30th of this year. So staff is currently coming up with recommendations and things as we move forward to bring something to you later. But that program will end June 30th. As you know, the solid waste management program is responsible for providing comprehensive solid waste management to protect human health and the environment. Comprehensive solid waste management requires collection of numerous types of waste. Some of that waste requires a decal as it currently stands, and some of it is recyclables that anybody is allowed to go to the convenience sites and deliver. We primarily use the convenience sites for the current collection system of those materials. We have 13 current sites that we use all around the county that provides that service for our citizens. The convenience sites provide a benefit to all county citizens because it provides a disposal option, reduces illegal dumping, reduces environmental impacts such as improper disposal of oil, scrap tires, waste in burn barrels, electronics, etc. It reduces roadside litter and it increases recovery of recyclable materials for the county. What does the household availability fee do? It eliminates the funding from the landfill enterprise fund because the landfill enterprise fund was subsidizing the solid waste program in some form or fashion, almost $2 million a year. It eliminates funding from the general fund because the general fund was having to subsidize that as well. I think we have been doing around $400,000 a year, and I think we did a little bit more last year. It provides capital improvement for new sites, and so once we have the recommendations for the funding mechanism, part 2 of that will be for this board to determine if you're going to refurbish and renew some of the convenience sites that we have, or if we go to a mega site model. I know there was discussion about Barber Mill Road and a comment made about Barber Mill Road, and we are making plans to do the improvement to that site so that egress and ingress will get citizens off that road and provides an area to make it a little bit safer to dump their trash at the convenience site. Within the model that we're using, where we'd eliminate decals is one, but the model that we're using will provide, in the fee, will provide for a roadside cleanup crew to go around the county and clean up Johnston County's roads. I know that we in the office get calls, and I know you commissioners get calls all the time about trash along our roadside. So this program will include fees to have a crew, at least one crew to go around and clean up Johnston County's roads. What we have determined and are currently working through, but what we have determined on the staff level and the funds that we have to come up with in order to run this program. So the cost of operations of solid waste operations is around $4 million a year. We need another $1 million a year for capital, whether it be to refurbish some of the current convenience sites like we are in Barber Mill Road, or to provide new mega sites that if the board wishes to do that and go that route. So that the funding will be to utilize to help with capital outlay as well. And in addition to funds to utilize a roadside cleanup crew. So we think it's going to be between $5 and $6 million a year we'll have to come up with. It's currently being subsidized outside of the decal program right now, that this will take care of that. And so once we have those options for you, it'll be the board's decision on what to do, which options to use that will fund this program, and then part two eventually will be to determine what we do with the sites as we currently have them. And so we have tried to account for all that, and we will account for that in the options that we provide you. There's a few layers to this, so it's taken us some time to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row before we bring it to you before you make decisions on it. And I'll be happy to answer any questions as we continue to make forward. But we felt like it was important to get this in front of our citizens again, to let you know that we're about 5.5 months from the decal program ending.
So, Mr. McLam, we need to, what you say, March, at least March, that there's got to be a decision made?
We will need to make a decision at the latest, the mid-month meeting in March for for Jocelyn and her team over in the tax office to be able to get those fees on the bills, on the tax bills.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. McLam? Thank you, sir. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
All right, we are to the point of manager reports and comments. Mr. Hester?
I don't have any, sir. Thank you.
All right, board reports and comments. I'll start down with Commissioner Smith. All right, Commissioner Stevens.
I just want to take a minute to mention a couple of months ago we had an impressive young lady named Hanley House come in and meet with us. She was newly crowned as the Miss Cleveland. She went on to win the Miss Cleveland's teen. She went on to win the Miss North Carolina's teen. She was also double prelim winner, so was a strong front runner. And then last Saturday was crowned Miss America's teen. So our sweet girl from Johnston County is now Miss America's teen, and she wanted to be here tonight, but she's already traveling the country doing the things. So I'm very proud of her, but she wants to come in and meet with us again. But I think that's a huge accomplishment, and she made Johnston County very, very proud this week.
Absolutely. Thank you. Commissioner Brosnan?
No, sir.
All right. Commissioner Godwin?
No, 2024 is an exciting year. We've got a lot going on, as indicated by all the business here tonight, and really glad to see us making progress on the broadband.
Yes, sir. All right. Commissioner Brosnan?
Once again, I want to reiterate how fortunate we are to have such capable and dedicated staff in this county. We're growing at a phenomenal rate, and they're keeping up with the growth and keeping things handled. Our county manager, our staff right on down the line. I think we're just very, very fortunate to have such capable and dedicated people working in those positions.
Thank you, sir. I'll just add that every morning that I wake up in Johnston County, I'm just thankful. This is a great place to be, and some of the best people in the world live here and work here, and we're very thankful to be able to serve those people. At this point,
towards that end, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I was on a podcast the other day, and the fellow asked me at the end, he said, what is your favorite thing about Johnston County? I said, that's easy, the people here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Is there a need for a closed session? All right, I'll take that move. I need a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Can you tell